How different is the collection you show to the collection you sell?
Not too different, because that's, you know, I know there's various designers out there and they're you know, huge brands where they have two separate collections, but we're not a big enough machine to do that. I can't afford to do it. You know, I have a very tight budget and quite often say to the stylist, you can have one special jacket because that's all I can allow. You know, I've got, you know, financially be able to make. So, yeah, it's not too dissimilar. We'll add a few things like the spring-summer collection, if anybody saw it, were these Swarovski crystal aprons. A dear friend of mine donated a whole load of Swarovski crystal to us, so we just made these up the night before the show, and they were great actually. They went down a storm. So there's silly little things like that, but they're just, it's more accessories than actual garments that we add, really.
Interesting point, because obviously our graduates are going to be showing in May fashion show.
Yeah.
You just said, you know, the night before you were sitting sewing. Some tips?
I always say that we never will, but I'm always literally, I mean, I shouldn't really say it, but the night before, well, it was the morning of, I think our call time was 9:20, and I was still taking in trousers at 9:20 in the studio in Brick Lane. So I just think, I think always just go with your gut instinct, because that's what I do, because sometimes even at 9:20 in the morning, I was thinking, oh, we could just leave it, but I knew it wasn't right, and my gut instinct told me it wasn't right. So, you know, I try to be as prepared and as organised as possible. But it's some things just that I think the best things always come out at, you know, very last minute. Well, in my experience anyway. So, but try and be as organised as possible.
Okay.
Is what
Fashion students are never
organised. No, I know.
I don't think any students are very well organised. Tell us a bit about what we can expect for the next collection.
Yeah, it was kind of, because obviously, as what we touched on before, I tried to have a thread running through. This particular collection was very much, I mean, there's a sense of military, you know, running through it. The concept, which we've really just gone to press with, was basically, I grew up in Shropshire, and I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's farm. And during the Second World War, as quite a lot of, you know, farms and estates in the UK, there were military bases built in and around them. And my grandmother's farm was exactly the same. And basically, the long and short of it is about this GI that comes over, and he falls in love with some land girl, and he decides that he doesn't want to go back to war, and he goes AWOL. And it's about her kind of disguising this fact that this boy is living within the farm, and she's pulling from her father's wardrobe. So it's a slightly oversized military kind of feel. So that's the concept for.
How do you select the colours?
Well, once again, I mean, I work with a mill in the north of England, and we're sponsored by this particular mill. And I go up every season, even for spring, summer, and I go through their archive and I go through their collection, and quite often actually, along with the concept that one has in mind, that will become the foundation of the colour palette. And obviously I do look at what's coming through in terms of trend, because it helps the buyer buy into your collection. You know, we're lucky to be sitting in a great spot in Liberty, and it's easy for a buyer to buy your collection if they can see that it's going to work alongside those other designers. So in terms of colour, that's how I tend to think. You know, I look at what trends are coming through. Obviously, we do a lot of knit, so Pitti Filati and Premier Vision are all quite key. So, but I don't follow that religiously. Once again, it's very much about gut instinct, what feels right for Lou Dalton, really.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to take a couple of questions, if any of you have any questions. Do you? Are there any questions? No?
Are
Sure?
you already starting on next year's collection?
Spring, summer.
Yeah.
Yes, we are actually, because we were talking earlier that the British Fashion Council announced last week that for June June will be the new showcase for menswear in London. We will kickstart the calendar. So basically, yeah, I have to kind of already start planting that seed because it's going to be very, very tight. So yes.
What's your gut instinct for colours?
I don't know actually. The one thing, because I didn't, obviously with the Olympics, we were like, oh yeah, well, you know, and I thought I don't really want to go down that road. So, but I did like the idea that we've not actually done a lot of like block colour. So I kind of like the idea that possibly we might touch on that. But I can't say anything more than that because I haven't really thought about it. Yes.
And when it comes to certain styles of fashion, do you concentrate normally on formal and casual?
Yeah, I suppose we gravitate towards that. I mean, I'm not, you know, I don't do what Christopher Shannon does. That wouldn't be right for us. And I suppose in a way, James Long and I kind of do similar kind of formal casual, but our aesthetics are very worlds apart. So, yeah, I mean, to me, you know, I suppose starting or working for a tailor, and it was obviously classic traditional sportswear, is very much where I come from. That's the DNA. So it's you know, morphing those two together, I suppose.
And also, yeah, okay, as far as fashion designers of the past are concerned, who actually inspired you?
There was I had this question the other day, and I said, I remember as a kid, there used to be this programme, which most of you probably wouldn't know or remember, called This Is Your Life. And Eamon Holmes, it wasn't Eamon Holmes, was it? Eamon Andrews, that's it, was interviewing Zandra Rhodes, and it was her, This Is Your Life. And I was a really young kid sitting on the sofa, so she was very inspiring. And then today, I think people like Dries van Noten are very inspiring because it's just been consistent regardless. He's just kept it going. And yeah, I find them inspiring.
And also, I know that you specialise in menswear, since basically those who do with the only requests that were coming through the party clothing door. But have you ever done any examples of women's wear?
No, no. I can barely dress myself. Never mind thinking about dressing anyone else. So no, you know, no way. It's not. I've worked for a women's wear designer, a very dear friend of mine who used to showcase at London Fashion Week, and I supported him 100%, and I still support him. But it's not something that I have any interest in whatsoever. I think it's great, and those that do it well, and I think.
Well, I would really like to specialise in menswear myself, but studying fashion, you know, over my years of actually studying the subjects, I've had to get involved in both.
Yeah, I think it's when you're studying, I was exposed to both, but I gravitated always to menswear.
Julia?